Good afternoon, everybody, on this Hump Day, Wednesday, October 15th, 2025. I got all of your stories for your rush hour ride home. Lots to get into. Kim Kardashian goes on Call Her Daddy podcast and says it costs her $1 million a year to look the way she does. Boy, yikes, that's a budget. Tax her a little bit higher. We got that story, plus Kat Stickler says she's single, this following her being photographed canoodling with John Mayer. And we have the judge ruling in the Justin Baldoni versus Blake Lively case. We have a judge responding to the public demand to hear the audio recording that supposedly makes Steve Sarowitz look very bad. So why is it that Baldoni's side is so adamant on listening to the audio? Maybe it's because it's a whole bunch of nothing burger. We'll get into that. And then Trump says grocery prices have gone down. Do you believe it? Have you bought an avocado recently? I know I haven't. I can't afford to. So we'll get into that. And then we have folks storming Mike Johnson's office, trying to get him to swear in this newly elected leader out of New Mexico. I'll share those stories. Lots to get into. All this and more starts right now on The Rush. So why wait? Why wait? Let's get right into it. The last couple of days have been wild in the Baldoni case. As has been reported, a good citizen, a sleuth, has gone to the courthouse trying to get records of this infamous phone recording that Claire Ayub, director of a Wayfair Films project, did. She recorded herself in conversation with Steve Sarowitz and illegally, and then sent in one way or another that recording to Blake Lively. Blake Lively got a hold of that recording. Well, the transcript does not exist in the court records. The audio file does not exist in the court records. And in the good Lord's year of 2025, you would think the tech capital of the world, the United States of America, home of Al Gore's The Internet, you would think we would be able to upload that file to the online marketplace. Don't you think? Well, the judge says, let's make that happen. So they weren't able to do it. Maybe it's old technology. Who knows? Here's what the judge had to say in Blake Lively versus Wayfair Studios. The court has received inquiries from the public regarding Exhibit 1 to plaintiff Blake Lively's motion for fees and damages under California Civil Code Section 47.1, which the court previously ordered unsealed. The court has been informed that the exhibit cannot be filed on the public docket as the electronic case filing system does not support audio files. Now, let me ask you this. How can you have the court system, which, involves evidence and whatnot, not accept audio files? I want audio files, video files, 360 footage, Starlink. I don't know. Throw the whole tech world at it. This is democracy, right? The court therefore requests the parties' assistance in publicly releasing the file. This reads like when my mom calls me up because she can't get her FaceTime to work. The court would like some assistance. Can we get some assistance to aisle Blake Lively here? The parties are directed to file a joint letter by October 17th, updating the court with respect to those efforts. I tell you what, Blake, if you're listening, Ryan Reynolds, if you're out there, please send me the file. I'll upload it. Let's if you need help, I'll help you get the file up. I'm sure it's, I've got good Wi-Fi here where I live. We got that cable, carbon fiber or whatever. So the judge says, look, we don't have it. There's just no way to get it. Now, people are wondering just exactly what this means. The comment section is just on top of this. Baldoni had zero problem publicly releasing his evidence. Surely if the Lively party has nothing to hide, they'll have no qualms doing the same, right? And I think people have said, well, maybe they were careful not to release the file because they didn't want to throw Claire Ayub under the bus because Claire Ayub recorded it illegally, and she recorded an illegal conversation with a billionaire. Maybe don't do that. Or do it. No, I think it's good. Hold people accountable. Just understand you can record that, but airing it publicly maybe could lead to, I don't know, legal issues. But hey, tack it on to the bill, Claire. Here's what our good pal, not actually Golden, had to say.
Without putting Claire Ayub out openly in public as having made an illegal recording or a potentially illegal recording, depending on where everybody was at the time. And so, having been in those rooms where you're gaming that out, like, well, we want to use it, but could this get this person in trouble? And could it get us in trouble for, publishing something that was illegally recorded? And I think that's part of it. I think there's no doubt in my mind that they've exchanged it during discovery. So there's no doubt in my mind that the parties have it. But under most laws that make recording illegal, if it's not, two-party consent states, it's illegal to make the recording, but it's also illegal to use the recording, right? To publish the recording that was illegally obtained. So it can be like, sometimes if a recording is illegally obtained, the only real remedy you want is, well, that's not admissible evidence because it was illegally obtained. And then you can try to keep it out in a civil or a criminal trial. But it's usually also part of those laws. And admittedly, I haven't looked up Connecticut, New York, California. I didn't do that. Somebody else can if they want to. But using it, publishing an illegally obtained recording can in and of itself be problematic.
And now, my question is, if it's illegal to publish a privately recorded audio, what does that say about Blake Lively, who's been using and essentially, dick riding this quote about these dead bodies, right? This idea, like they've cherry picked quotes from the audio recording, used it for their advantage, used it in PR, and that's why I think the audience has such a thirst to listen to it, to go, look, what did he actually say? Do we really think that this guy in charge of this whole company, speaking to a director that he's doing business with, a female director, in a company that's relatively woke, and I don't mean that in a negative way, they seem to be, or try to aim to be, respectful to voices that might not have gotten a leg up in other Hollywood scenarios. That's kind of what it's all about, right? They're championing female voices, stories that might look differently than they've got that movie about the 58-year-old football player going back to college, whatever. Like, they're kind of going for people that haven't been necessarily represented, right? I think that's the idea. Would privately they be so flippant to say things that were misogynistic, abusive? Right? I mean, she's claiming Baldoni of being verbally abusive. So pardon me for wanting to not just see the transcript, but get the full context of that. And when it comes in, my prediction, when it comes in and it's a whole bunch of nothing, I think that'll be very interesting. Now, there was this idea for a long time that Jenny Slate had an HR complaint, and what was she exposed to in this chaotic set? And then we find out she essentially was given a, $10,000-$15,000 a month stipend for her apartment to stay in, and it wasn't baby proofed. And I understand, right? I got a 17-month-old. It didn't have maybe the doors, there's just certain things that some places are better and safer for babies than others. And so what they did is they helped her get a new place and they reimbursed her. And it's like, where was the crime? There was this idea that they were treating her poorly, and it's like, are these actors and directors, who have massive egos, are they that delusional that they think they're being treated unfairly when they're being treated like everybody else? I don't know. But here we have our good pal Chris here. He has a TikTok called Reputation 911, and Chris is discussing some of the strategy that Blake Lively's side might be using in order to take advantage of Claire calling Baldoni verbally abusive.
The fact that it was Claire, they could, I wouldn't put it past them to create a burner account and literally just send it, the reveal, like somebody's TikTok or, something that showcases who it was, or even just the exhibit, I guess. They can send it to reporters that they know, and that might lean pro Blake with their coverage, right? And so they want people to cover the fact that there is another woman claiming that Justin Baldoni wasn't, cool to work with.
And by the way, we saw that from some pro Blake Lively accounts, that they absolutely ran with this verbally abusive claim without any of the evidence that backs it up. And I just think that's wrong. I think you at least have to have a lot of context to what these claims are, and that they haven't been validated in any way whatsoever with any amount of evidence. So with that said, I think it's always great to talk about the PR, because essentially what Chris is saying here is Baldoni can respond in certain ways. They can release a public statement. They can remain silent, or they'll have to be a little bit more reactive depending on what Blake Lively does. And right now they're kind of just staying silent, and they're letting the internet do the internet thing, which is what they did in the fall, right? When they hired that crisis PR company, they realized we don't have to fight these fights. The internet's kind of fighting it for us. And if other people fight your fights for you, it kind of makes you look a little bit better because you don't have to be on the defensive. Does that make sense? All right. Well, coming up next, we've got some rumors to get to. Kat Stickler, John Mayer, a conversation about cutting your hair after a breakup. Love to do that. Does hair hold memories? Do you guys believe in that? We'll get into that. And then Kim Kardashian on Call Her Daddy podcast and a lot more. So stick around. We'll be back right after this. Fall is here, and with it comes the back-to-school rush. Early morning drop-offs, after-school activities, football games, and those last-minute supply runs. Let's not forget the extra trips for groceries, coffee, and gas as the days get busier. All of that adds up, and it adds up fast. Well, we got you covered with the free Upside app. It's an easy way to earn real cash back every time you fill up your tank. Grab a bite to eat or stock up on essentials. Whether you're driving across town for a soccer game or picking up snacks for the school lunchbox, Upside helps you keep more money in your pocket. In fact, Upside has given back $1 billion to its users. Yeah, billion with a B. That's real cash back. No confusing rewards, points, or credits. Actual money you can transfer straight to your bank account, with $1 million cash back is earned by its users every single week. So that's right. They're not only giving $1 billion cash back, but you can find out how much you could earn by downloading the free Upside app and use promo code RUSHHOUR to get an extra 25 cents back for every gallon on your first tank of gas. That's an extra 25 cents back for every gallon on your first tank of gas using promo code RUSHHOUR. Today's episode is sponsored by Mint Mobile. If you're still overpaying for wireless, it's time to say yes to saying no. At Mint Mobile, their favorite word is no. No contracts, no monthly bills, no overages, no hidden fees, no BS. That's why I said yes to making the switch and getting premium wireless for just $15 a month. So ditch those overpriced wireless plans. All Mint Mobile plans come with high-speed data and unlimited talk and text delivered on the nation's largest 5G network. Use your own phone with any Mint Mobile plan and bring your phone number along with all your existing contacts. Ready to say yes to saying no? Make the switch at mintmobile.com/TRH. That's mintmobile.com/TRH. Upfront payment of $45 required, equivalent to $15 a month. Limited time new customer offer for first 3 months only. Speeds may slow above 35 gigabytes on unlimited plan. Taxes and fees extra. See Mint Mobile for details. Kim Kardashian goes on Call Her Daddy, and boy, does she come off so relatable when she mentions that she spends $1 million a year on her glam. Now, I thought my wife spent a lot of money on her conditioner. Now, to be frank, I'm so lucky. This influencer world is crazy. My wife, she's not even like really an influencer, but companies just send her stuff. They send her beauty products and sunglasses. Come on by the Neal household. I'm just going to give you some Kiehl's. Either way, I mean, that's a privilege. That's a pretty privilege. Here's Kim Kardashian explaining how much money to Call Her Daddy podcast, how much money she spends to look the way she does.
How much a year do you spend on glam?
Well, a
Jeez.
lot, but
Well,
if I'm filming my show, then they pay for it. I mean, I don't have a concept of what like certain simple things cost. I'd like to know a little bit more about what like a milk carton costs, and you know.
she called it a milk carton. That's how out of what are you using? 1950? How much does it cost to go to the milkman?
I mean, it's probably
You like call your business manager.
yeah. I should know this actually.
You should. Like 6 figures, 7 figures.
It could be $1 million. You know,
I don't think I'd be surprised at that,
This
right?
hair
You got a lot
isn't
of
cheap.
babe, it looks great.
You know, but I don't know. Yeah, just so
I
that
think
my
everyone
hair.
always wonders, like, how do you get this?
I have really good hair. I have really good hair.
No offense to Kim Kardashian, but of all of the things you could say she's known for, has anyone ever said her hair? You know, I don't know. Maybe. What do I know? That's not the first 5 things that come to mind for me. Either way, listen, I'm a fan of Kim Kardashian. Say what you want about her. She fights to get wrongfully convicted men out of the prison system. I actually think she's done more good for social change than a lot of our elected leaders. I truly believe that. I think the idea that she's filthy rich is a different conversation. And I think we should have, I think we'd have a better society if we taxed people that made over $10 million a year at a much higher level. I think I can, if I ever make over $10 million a year, I think I would be happy sleeping at night knowing I pay 60% marginal tax on money I make past the $10 million mark. So by that, I mean, you get to a certain level and then you get taxed heavily, and that money goes to programs that fill the potholes and fix our crippling infrastructure and maybe help single moms, you know, get some babysitter help and things like that. I don't know. Call me a raging lunatic. And I'm going to have a bunch of people out there that don't make $10 million a year sticking up for those richies, but that's just the world I live in. Now, that has nothing to do with this conversation. I just like to shoehorn in a little progressive ideology when I can. Here's Kat Stickler, former girlfriend to Jason Tartick, influencer in and of herself. She made this video saying she's single after she was spotted canoodling with John Mayer. I mean, to be fair, who hasn't canoodled with John Mayer? Here's what she had to say on her, I believe, TikTok.
Kat, are you single?
Yeah, I already told you that.
No, you didn't.
I cut all my hair off out of the blue one day. You think I just did that for no reason? It holds memories. Look at the distance.
So she said her hair holds memories, which led me to, look, I'm kind of a spiritual guy. I believe these types of things. I had a bit about this. I read an article that men with long hair have better intuition. And then the bit is, I know it's true because I didn't even read the article. I just kind of felt it, right? I mean, come on. It's a classic economy of words. It's a chef's kiss. But I do believe that the body has more to it than we think. So I Googled, does hair hold memories? And it says no, hair does not hold memories like the brain does, as it's made of non-living protein. However, there is a scientific basis for why people feel that hair holds memories, as it can store a physical record of your body's past. Well, if your hair can store a physical record of your body's past, technically it does hold some memory of where you come from, right? Like it's kind of like if you dig into the ground and you see the different levels of sentiment, you can kind of see how old something is, or the rings on a tree. Your hair is that way, right? It says it holds stress hormones like cortisol. Culturally and psychologically, cutting hair can be a symbolic act of releasing the past and making a fresh start. And certain hairstyles are strongly associated with specific periods of life. Technically, knowing how large my audience is, there's probably a lady out there who just went through a bad breakup and now she has bangs. Hi, Jill. Good to see you. Do what you got to do. Cut it all off. You look great. I like to cut things off. Either way, so Kat's single, I guess. I don't know. Jason Kelce had to respond. This is so crazy. Jason Kelce is a superstar, right? So you guys might remember last year, some college kid was taunting him, and he stole it. He took the kid's phone and spiked it, and I think he called the kid the F word, and then he had to apologize, rightfully so, because in that moment he was just saying whatever he could to punish this kid, but obviously you don't do that. And now he's having his name hijacked in part of the Bad Bunny conversation. He said, I normally don't comment on things like this, but I feel I need to address that there are a number of accounts posting fake quotes and attributing them to me on this platform. I appreciate Twitter putting community notes on several, and I will not address the other accounts specifically because I do not want to amplify their engagement. But please know, unless you hear something directly from me or one of my platforms, it is not real. And then someone responded, okay, but how do you feel about Bad Bunny performing at the NFL halftime show? There's just certain topics some people don't want to talk about. And I think I truly believe that at least 90% of the country doesn't give two shits about Bad Bunny at the halftime show. And yet we still live in this world where those insane fringe voices have a megaphone. And a lot of it comes down to them thinking the whites are being replaced. I mean, that's really what it boils down to. A lot of people feel like the United States is supposed to be a white country and that they are being replaced. That's why Big Bunny, that's why all of these woke issues, they want heterosexual white traditional marriage and white traditional Christianity to run the country. Now, me personally, secure in the world that I live in, I don't give two shits what your skin color is. I want everyone to have the chance to flourish. I want us all to try to get the chance to have the same position on the starting blocks. That's what it comes down to, right? That's equity of opportunity, not equity of outcome. Not telling everyone you need a participation trophy, just saying, let's get everyone to the starting line. Let's get everyone, that wants to get education, that wants healthcare. Let's get everybody into a position where we can all thrive. That's what makes us all better, not the color of our skin. Why in 2025 do we even have to have these conversations? It's beyond me, quite frankly. All right, well, we've got some other political stuff to get into, but how about this? Our final pop culture story. Suni Lee is walking the runway for Victoria's Secret. I mean, this is smart, right? Getting Olympians to be in Victoria's Secret. And no offense to traditional models out there, but a lot of Olympians, especially gymnastics, they're shorter. They've got more athletic builds. Like providing a platform like Victoria's Secret for different body types. That's not just like, a stick is good. Whatever. I don't know. Victoria's Secret kind of canceled the fashion show for a few years and it's back. Who the hell cares? Do what you want to do. You know what I mean? All right. Coming up next, we've got polling numbers that are in about the government shutdown that has no end in sight. And we've got a lot of political stuff to talk about. And I think we're all on the same page. Maybe not, but I think we're all on the same page that we want people to be protected and not have their rights taken away and not have to pay so much money for healthcare and things like that. Well, it's a real impasse that we're at, and this story's coming next.